I have not released any videos in a while. I have been very busy with things like this trip I'm about to explain to you all, and that thumbnail that I have is not clickbait. I'll get into that shortly. Hey all, man, as I wrote this script, I was eating my very first meal after I just got back from NFC. I was sore and tired all over, even though I had slept for 10 hours. So there's going to be a few elements to this video. I'm going to be going over the events at the convention, the good, the bad, the great. So yeah, what I mean by bad, there's a couple of criticisms I have of NFC in this, which I will go over. They're not too terrible, but they need to be in there. But yeah, where do we start? I suppose where I landed, which was Copenhagen. So it's much cheaper and easier to go to Malmo by going to Copenhagen first and just taking the train from Denmark to Sweden. So on the train, the very first stop is Malmo. The Copenhagen airport is pretty big. I believe the Malmo airport's quite small, so it's a lot more expensive to just fly there instead. So if you ever decide to go there, go to Copenhagen's airport and just take the train across. It takes about 40 minutes. It's way, way easier. Also, a tip, if you want to buy booze for NFC, buy it whilst you're in Copenhagen's airport, because Denmark, they don't tax alcohol nowhere near as much as Sweden do. So yeah. Anyway, on with the actual events. So I landed in Copenhagen. We're on after a 2-hour flight with my friends Greme and Rio, and we met a few beans that we know, such as Zealous and Ziv. They were waiting for us. Ziv, by the way, this trooper has come all the way from Australia, and he's been on a 19-hour flight by this point. I don't know how he does it, but anyway, we all met up, we gave each other a big hug, and we made our way over to Malmo. I was staying at the Clarion Temperance Hotel, and my roommate was Ganon, who had not arrived yet. Ziv was also in the same hotel as me. Greme and Rio were also staying at the Moment Hotel. Right, I'm just pausing the video here. I'm just pausing it. Right. Now that I have reached this part about hotels, this is the first bad point about the con I'm going to be making. I'm not going to sugarcoat things here. When I reach points like this, I think it's completely fair to criticize cons when there is a problem, because without this feedback, they can't really improve for next time. So my hotel was fine. It was spacious, had complimentary food. However, several of my friends, at least 6 people I know that were staying at the Moment Hotel, every single one of them had the same complaint, especially from people who had a lot of luggage because they were fursuiting. To explain this, let's take a look at a friend's registration. He sent this to me in a screenshot, who was staying there. As you can see, it specifically states his room is a double room. All 6 of these people that stayed there also had double rooms. Let's take a look at what a double room looks like on NFC's website. Under the description for a double room, it states, a spacious 10 meter square room with a 140 centimeter bed. Okay, fair enough. Let's take a look at pictures of said room on NFC's website. Look, this one has a balcony, a bedside table, quite a bit of space to put things down against the wall, maybe at the base of the bed. Yeah, everything seems fine, right? Now I'm going to show you some photographs of what all 6 of these people had actually gotten when they had won a double room. This is not what was described at all, not even close. This caused a ton of issues for people who were fursuiting. As one friend who was with me states, if I had known that this room was going to be so small, I would have just booked at a hotel outside of the con, because I had nowhere to store anything, I didn't have a wardrobe either, and the cases for my suit took up almost all the floor space, and I was also sharing a room with my partner. One thing I should mention is because many of these people had partners, they had to climb over each other whilst they were asleep. So what did they get? Because this is not a double room. Looking back on NFC's website, This is what the room they won looked like. They had gotten a single room, which is described as the ideal room for nocturnal creatures, bats, vampires, or party animals who need quiet den once the fun stops. These rooms are the same size as the moment's single rooms, but without the windows. There was an option for single rooms, like just single individuals when people registered. Why did they end up in these single rooms when they had booked double rooms? If this was caused by all these people somehow not understanding what they had won, even though it clearly states double room on registration, that is also what they went for, but they got a single room, then either something had gone very wrong with communication somewhere, because my friends can read, they are not idiots. This isn't their fault. I don't know what happened here. I could speculate all day. All I can do is report on what I saw, and that was people who were expecting a double room because their registration said so got a single room, and that caused them a lot of problems. Anyway, let's move back to our original topic. So, after dropping my luggage off at my hotel, I queued for registration. And whilst I was there, I actually ran into someone I know in VR chat. I've only ever met them in VR so far. His name is Nerdaxic. And turns out he is absolutely hilarious and he's a lot of fun to hang around with. We queued for about an hour, I would say. And yeah, keep in mind though, this was on a Tuesday. So I had early bird and late leave. And so we queued for a bit, and then after I got my registration done, a few more of my friends arrived. And I mean, I didn't have anything to do at this point. Just go to the bar. So I decided to queue with them and talk to them as they were arriving. Met a few more beans, queued again, and then queued again and again. And I got kind of tired of doing that. And then I relented and went to the bar. So the bar is expensive, I'm not going to lie, but that's kind of normal for most conventions. If you go to a convention and expect cheap booze at the hotel, no, that's not going to happen. Unless it's free booze at somebody's room party, then it will be cheap. But yeah, that's just normal. That's normal. But anyway, whilst I was doing this at the bar, I ran into my roommate, Ganon, and we gave each other a big hug, because we haven't seen each other in a little while. We're just sort of very happy to see each other. My window just minimized, because of course it did. I have like notes in front of me, which tell me, everything that happened, just to give me a bit of a reminder. Now I have to walk over to my computer and re-enable. I'm just going to come over here really close to the camera. I am sorry about this. Let me maximize that again. Yes, there we go. Thank you. And I will turn off my mouse so I can no longer touch it. There we go. I figured out what was causing it, by the way. But anyway, ran into Ganon, gave each other a hug, and then once he was registered, we headed back to our hotel. We dropped everything off in our room, had a few drinks, and we just hung out. I went to the lobby, met a few more people, but there was a few room parties going on the very first day, but unfortunately, I was so tired. I was so unbelievably tired by that point. I had only had 2 hours sleep in the last 2 days. I just needed to go. So I went back to my room and crashed. But when I woke back up in the next day, Ganon was next to me on the bed, which was great, which means he got back home fine. And then we got ready for the day's events. This is where the actual con really started. So, the two events were a private boat party and the Greme concert. So a few weeks ago, I was invited to a Telegram chat that was run by a few friends, and they were planning a party at the main hotel. But somehow, I don't know how, it wasn't in the main hotel anymore. It was now on the convention's party boat. Well, one of them at least. For those that don't know, the convention has two party boats and party buses. You don't need to book to go on the boats, but you do for the buses, and for that reason I didn't get to experience them, sadly. I was too late. But the boats, I experienced them, and oh boy, they are an absolute blast. So the boats also serve free booze, and you can also bring your own. It's free because they rely on donations. But yeah, here are the 2 boats. I'm going to put them on screen now. The one that we were having the party on was called Blabaten. I'm sorry if I've mutilated that pronunciation. The other one is called Tintin. Before the party, though, all of our friends and myself went out to do some shopping in the city. And Malmo is a beautiful place and there is a lot to do and eat, but we needed things for our room and the party. So I went and bought some soft drinks, some salon quality shampoo and conditioner. I have long hair and I forgot my damn shampoo and conditioner at home. But I bought a few sandwiches and a seafood salad. This salad is important. Remember it. There's a reason why I'm pointing it out, and you will see later. It's a seafood salad. Anyway, after shopping, we bought some food, and Rio suited for the very first time ever. Look at this bean. This suit was literally 3 days old at this point. After a bit of this, I went back to my hotel to prepare. So it turned out that the fridge that was in our rooms was broken, which is annoying, and the hotel insisted that there was nothing wrong with it, even though I could put my hand on the back of the fridge on the element and I could feel that it was just room temperature. Anyway, I just had to live with it, and I put the salads and the sandwiches in there anyway because I had to store them away regardless. After that, I got myself all tarted up, and so did Ganon, and we headed to the boat with plenty of booze on us. Whilst I was there, I met a bunch of beans I've not seen before, and some that I have. One particular person I've only met in VR. I met them at Foxconn last year, and that was nice to meet them. Also, a friend of ours surprised us by DJing, which I didn't expect. There were a lot of drinks as well, and as we were partying and having a great time, Ganon seemed to have just vanished. Just poof, gone. I had no idea where he went. So I texted him. I sent him a message on Telegram asking where he is. I assumed he'd just gone back to the main or something. But, he's a big boy. He can take care of himself, But I didn't get any response. The party came to an end and we headed to the main and we went to the Greme concert. This thing was nuts. I was headbanging most of the time. I'm a huge metal fan, so I absolutely love this. And it really suited the theme of the con, being Ragnarok and all. I managed to shake hands with the bassist too at the concert, and going through all of this, I was just thinking to myself, my neck is going to really hurt tomorrow, and lo and behold, it did. But anyway, after the concert ended, I said my goodbyes, but I did ask a few people whilst I was there, where is Ganon? Has anyone seen him? No one seemed to know where he was, and he hadn't checked his phone either, and I was getting a bit concerned now. I thought that maybe he's back at our room. So I decided to just go back to my hotel, and when I got there, Ganon was not there. Where is he? This is the part where I actually started to panic a little. I messaged at least a dozen people asking where he was, but no one had seen him. All I know is that he was drunk and he vanished shortly before the boat party ended. At this point, I just assumed that he had crashed somewhere where he shouldn't have done, but that's unusual for him because he's not a fan of people ghosting in rooms. I stayed up for a bit longer and I tried various methods of calling him, but nothing worked. I decided that I'll sleep for 1 hour, I'll set my alarm, and when I get up, if no one has heard anything from him, then I'm going to call con security /medical /con ops, whatever. I'm going to get in contact with the con and report that my roommate has vanished. So anyway, I slept for 1 hour, woke up, no one had seen him still. Right. I need to get in contact with them. So I started just finding their information out on my phone, and just as I was about to call them,
I got arrested. Just got out.
Wait, what? Why? I'm glad that you're okay, but why? Let's go to Ganon's perspective on when he vanished. There he was on the boat, feeling a little bit too drunk, and thought it's a good idea to just go to sleep. He told a few people that he would go back to our hotel, and he wandered back. Now, he wasn't exactly walking in a straight line, but he was still heading back, and part way back, the police saw this guy just walking along a bit wobbly, and asked him, "Are you okay?" And Ganon said, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm just drunk and going back to my hotel." And the police said, "Can you get into our car, please? We will take you for your own safety." And of course, Ganon complied. He wasn't rude, he wasn't resistant, he was actually just confused. Maybe they would just take him to his hotel or something. I don't know. If I was in his position, that's what I would think. He got in the car, and then he was taken to the police station. He then had all of his things confiscated, and then he was thrown into a cell for 5 hours until he sobered up. Once he got let out, he was released with 0 charges, and then he messaged me. He then walked back to the hotel and told me the whole story. He also posted that he was arrested on Twitter as well, to which people were talking about at the con. It turned into a bit of a meme where if we didn't know where he was, we would just assume that he's in jail again or something. Ganon is truly a menace to society, the menace of Malmo. The Swedish police did a really bang-up job spending valuable resources locking up a drunk cat that on the way back to his hotel, who could literally see his hotel from where they arrested him from. Good job, guys. Anyway, Ganon speculates that they wanted to do it because they were either very bored or they just wanted to check him for drugs, which he certainly didn't have. Anyway, we went to sleep and woke up sometime Thursday mid-afternoon. We got up, had some food with some friends at a place called the Spoonery that serves Swedish meatballs, which were so good, by the way. If you guys go to NFC, go to the Spoonery. It's very close to the hotel. After that, we went to the main hotel where this thing started to happen. I was just talking to some people next to the main entrance when suddenly...
Hey, are you Vox Draco?
Yeah, hi, that's me.
I saw your badge. I love your YouTube videos.
I got recognized. Yeah, and that happened several times whilst I was down in the main lobby. I hope those that met me will forgive me for being a bit of a blithering idiot and stammering a bit. But I'm just not used to this at all. I find it a bit scary, but I really appreciate any fans that came up to me to say hi and wanted like a photo and a hug and such. But anyway, moving on. The next event that we're going to go to was karaoke. Now, I love karaoke. I'm not very good at it, but I like doing it. The karaoke event was happening on the same boat where we're having the boat party the previous day. There was a little bit of a queue, but once we got in, I immediately queued up my song that I really wanted to sing, which was Welcome to VR Chat by TFM Johnny. I put us in a karaoke world for thematic reasons with the actual song playing that I sung. Welcome to VR Chat is a parody of Welcome to the Internet, and I absolutely love seeing it. I was 6th in the queue, but before me was actually my best friend Greme, who did an amazing cover of Chasing Cars, which I will put on now. But hilariously, the projector broke as he was singing, and the person who turned up to fix it was none other than Cyrex himself. But Greme knows the lyrics from memory, and he kept singing, and the entire crowd joined in, and when he finished, the boat just exploded into applause, and it was amazing. Greme can sing really well. He also sang Look My Way from Hell of a Boss, and absolutely nailed it. My friend Rio sang Short Change Hero. Whispers was there. He sung Teenage Dirtbag. Ganon sang Power Snake as well. Again, thematic to Ragnarok. It was great. But after I had done Welcome to the Internet, and much to the boat's amusement, I went up top deck and I spoke to Cyrex for a little bit. And yeah, we just all hang out. And then I messaged Johnny himself on Twitter, and just to let him know that I've just sang his song, and I got a really nice message back. It said, "Thank you, I already saw the video clip. You are all so sweet and kind. I'm honoured that this is becoming a tradition of sorts." That was a really nice thing to say. Johnny's a sweet guy. I did put in a second song, which is Amish Paradise, but it was going to take so long in the queue that at that point I just kind of forgot about it. Sorry, NFC staff, if I caused issues when I did that. Anyway, after karaoke, me and my friends went to the main rave, and, Rio was still impartial and suiting there, and then this is where something else happened. This is nothing negative at the con, this is a kind of my own stupidity in a way. Okay, it's entirely my own fault. But anyway, for context, let's rewind to the last NFC for context. I was on my way back from my hotel and I went to Maxburger. I ordered some food and brought it upstairs and realised that I had no napkins. So I quickly went down and got some more, but on the way up, I slipped and fell up the stairs. The stairs in Maxburger are made out of concrete. I slammed my left knee down very hard, but shook it off and kept going upstairs. The next day, my knee was swollen, and when I got back home, applying any kind of pressure to the knee, not the joint, really hurt. So what I mean by that is if I just step back from the camera just a little, I can jump up and down on one leg. I can dance and everything. There's no problem with the actual functionality of the joint. Let me just put the camera back where it was. And get a little bit closer. There we go. The actual joint is fine. It's just the outside of it. The doctor sort of told me that the little sac that contains the ligaments on the outside of the knee had become inflamed, but it takes a long time to heal. I can't remember exactly what its name is. But anyway, that took a long time to heal. It was almost completely healed by the time I went to NFC again this year. Now let's go back to the present. So we went to main stage, where there was a rave going on, and a bunch of furries were dancing on there in suit, impartial or not at all, and I was in front of the main stage, and some guy reached down and held out his hand for Rio to pull him up onto main stage, and they did the same for Greme. They pulled him up, and then it came to me. Now, the thing is in real life, I am friend-shaped, a bit thick, with too many C's. I am just over 100 kilograms, which is a little bit over 220 pounds for you Americans. Point is, I am heavy. He wanted to pull me onto the stage, and at first I said no, but he insisted. I was also drunk. So I finally agreed anyway. Unfortunately, as he did this, he either overestimated how strong he was, or didn't realise how marbled I am, and after he had already lifted me up part way, he couldn't manage it, and then he let me go, and I fell down onto my bad knee. It was excruciating. I don't blame the guy, though. I shouldn't have tried this. I got up, and the pain subsided, and I kept dancing anyway. But after that, I went back to the hotel with Ganon, and when I woke up the next day, my left knee had swollen up like a balloon. Fuck. Well, all that healing now has to happen again. The next day, which was a Friday, myself and Ganon went to the Syrinx concert at the Valhalla venue, which was amazing, by the way. He did a great job. It was nice to see him work his magic live, and after that, we went to the VR chat meetup to say hello to some more beans and Syrinx as well. But sadly, I had to leave at this point to go to another party because it conflicted with Whisper's performance. I would have liked to have gone to his performance, but yeah, needs must. I can't be in two places at once. I already agreed to go to this thing. But yeah, I'll have to just watch a recording of his concert. But anyway, I went back to my hotel and I got ready for the event for the day, which was a room party where we would watch Willy's Wonderland in 4K, provided by my very good friend Overlay, my very clever Fox friend, I should say, Overlay. And then when we go to the not safe for work / kinky dance rave thing that was happening on main stage. So we went to the party, and a bunch of my closest friends were there, and we basically had to have drinks when certain things happened on the movie itself. It's one of those typical sort of drinking games. Willy's Wonderland is way better than Five Nights at Freddy's, in my opinion, because it just doesn't take itself seriously. And I mean, it has Nicolas Cage in it. Come on. Also, Jadu. If you have the Blu-ray version of this movie, you will know what Jadu means. After following the rules and ending up a bit tipsy, the people that were with me all started changing into their not safe for work / kinky gear for the relaxed dress code rave that was due to happen on main stage. Now, for those that don't know, this event happens twice at NFC, once on the boat and once on the main stage. The rules are, you cannot have exposed genitals, nor can you just wear nothing but your undies. But nipples are okay with any gender, and you can show a lot of skin if you want. But also, you cannot take any pictures at the event, otherwise you will just get removed. You know, that kind of goes without saying. I personally am too self-conscious to really dress down this way and really do something like this, but it's still a really good vibe to go regardless, where people can just indulge in something that they are just not really permitted to do outside of the conventions like this. Pretty much all of my friends got in their kink / revealing gear and left for the rave, including me, and this is where I have to pause again. Another bad moment. So far, everything at NFC, bar the hotel situation, has been amazing, but I do need to talk about this. As we were queuing, we noticed a few disgruntled people, well, actually quite a lot of disgruntled people, were leaving the queue at the entrance and then leaving back the way that they came. But as they did, they sent a few people into the crowd who also looked like they were becoming annoyed at the same time. Myself and my friends were there in the queue, and one such person told us, as they were walking past, that we're not allowed in if you have a phone on you that has a camera. What? Where does it say that in the rules? Myself and my friends looked at the rules on the app and saw this. All phone cameras must have the lens covered with a sticker which will be provided by the convention. Those rules pertain to this event, the relaxed dress code events, and it's all on the app themselves. We brought this up to the con-goer who said this, and they said to us, they have run out of stickers, so now they are just turning people away who have phones. NFC, that should not have happened. This could have easily been avoided in two ways. One, get more stickers. You know how many attendees you have. You should have ordered more than you needed. Also, two, you could have had a member of staff go down the line and tell people who are joining the line itself about this change. Some of these people in this queue were like queuing for hours and then being told to leave. Someone really screwed up here. Other people in the line that heard this were also getting pretty annoyed, and when we sort of reached the front, the staff member that was being confronted about this just kept repeating, I'm just the messenger, and then sending them away. However, Greme came to our rescue. Now, Greme is a physically fit and very fast boy, you know. He came up with an idea. We give all our phones to him, and he will run back to his room with them, drop them back off, and then come back. We agreed, and he bolted off. Just as we reached the entrance, he returned, and then we got in. But there was a line of very angry people at the entrance. But anyway, back to the positive stuff. The party was good, and there was a lot on display, obviously, like lots of boobs and butts and skin and good music and whatever. But after spending some time in there, I realised I had enough to drink and I was feeling a bit tired, and I decided to go call it and go back to my room. And this is where I made a massive mistake. So, at this time, it is Friday. Well, technically it's Saturday morning. Do you remember that seafood salad that I brought up in the video earlier? The one that had been left in my room at room temperature since Wednesday morning in a broken fridge? In my infinite wisdom, whilst being really drunk, I decided to wolf the whole thing down and go to sleep. Like clockwork, 3 hours later, I woke up feeling very nauseous. I rushed to the bathroom, and as Ganon put it, he cosplayed a fountain. This went on for at least 4 hours. I was very sick. I scared Ganon. I told him what I had done, and he realised that there wasn't much he could really do. But he brought me lots of water, vitamin drinks, and small things to try and eat. But everything I swallowed just came straight back up. Everything I had ate earlier on in the convention rushed out of me. My body was trying to evacuate everything possible in my digestive system. I was dripping with sweat. I had turned very pale. I was shaking. I was glued to that toilet. What's worse is that I have GERD's disease, so everything that I was vomiting up was really irritating my esophagus, but I couldn't take any omeprazole because everything that I swallowed would just come straight back up. So now my throat was on fire. And this went on for hours. I don't think I have ever felt so sick, like so nauseous specifically, in my entire life. But eventually, with Ganon being the angel that he is and helping me trying to stay hydrated, it started to slow down. I went back to bed, eventually, still shivering and sweating a lot, and I spent most of the day in bed. But over time, my body started to recover. I think I managed to get rid of everything that was making me so sick because, vomiting up your own body weight must have done something. But sadly, I did miss most of the day. But I did go back to the main hotel eventually, even though I felt pretty lousy still. When I got to the main hotel in the situation, I just sort of relaxed on the 3rd floor with Ganon and anyone else who wanted to join us. Ziv also spent most of the time with us that day, just relaxing, whilst I was at the hotel, that is. I still felt pretty crap, and there was one point where I felt like I was going to be sick again, but it seemed to calm down. But by the time it was midnight, I was okay enough to go into the rave, but I didn't jump up and down and bounce or anything because that would just upset my stomach. I know that there was also the Kinky Boat Party was going on, but I could not risk going on a boat, considering the state I was in. I did manage to eat some food past midnight, and I did that on the way back to the hotel with a few friends. There was also this moment at Maxburger where I was waiting for my food to be made. I was just stood there in line, and some Swedish guy who had a con badge on him was stood there as well, and he just came over to me and started saying something, but I didn't understand what he said because he was still speaking Swedish. I said I only speak English to him, and in response he started to say something in English, but it was really broken and I couldn't understand what he said. And I had to leave, so I turned around to leave. I said to him, look, I've got to go. And I turned around to leave, and as I did, he spanked me on the arse. There was no consent there. That was not okay. But yeah, that was another thing that happened. But technically Saturday was the last day for many people, but I had late leave, as mentioned previously, so I actually had one more day to go. So the next day, it consisted of going to various room parties, which were open to those who knew about them. I went to one room party where we played the card game Shitty before we headed to the Dead Dog Party. Now, the Dead Dog Party is the very last party at a convention, and it's usually ran by the convention themselves. There were 3 running at this. There was one on each boat and one at Maine. I went to queue for the Dead Dog Party on the boat, the one that we have been on several times already, and then again something happened which I didn't really expect. I somehow ended up on the boat before it was ready. So a friend basically called me over, so I was on this boat with a bunch of staff who were setting things up, and I felt very out of place. I kind of wanted to help out, but I didn't really know what to do, and that was until I heard someone say, "The sound system isn't set up right." And another person said back, "Do we have an audio guy coming?" And he responded with, "No, I'm not sure what to do." And then another person suggested, "I know a person called Overlay who is a broadcast engineer. He might be able to help." And I thought to myself, now is my chance to shine. So that conversation was obviously exaggerated, by the way. But anyway, I messaged Overlay and told him his skills might be needed on the boat. And surely enough, he arrived. I helped him move some huge subwoofers from one place to another, and those things are bloody heavy. And then he got to work making sure everything was cabled correctly. By the time the congoers started to flood into the boat, There still wasn't any music, but after about 5 minutes, Overlay gave the green light and the music started blasting. The clever fox saved the day. He's a good bean, using his learned skills to help out at events like this. And that's not the first time he's done this, by the way. After that, we spent a bunch more time there. We were trying to use up any booze that we had left, because obviously a lot of us couldn't take it home with us. I had a nice chat with Emperor of Mars on the deck, and just various people, such as Straubs, Snoodle, Zealous, Ziv, Emmeline, Nadaxic, Tave, Rex, Polly, Dev, Bubblegum, Wilk, Ada, Sino, Coco. Just lots of people who were there, and I can't name them all. It would take too long at this point, and I've got to try and remember everyone. But all my friends were sort of spread out between the dead dog parties, and a lot of these conversations took place between these two. So one more thing before I stop talking about this boat is the DJ that's on screen right now was absolutely fucking phenomenal. I don't know who this person is. I even asked the unofficial NFC chat, but no one responded. He had perfect beat matching, perfect key matching, everything. He was insane. The boat went nuts when he played. If anybody knows who this DJ was, please let me know. Anyway, after this, me and my friends had one last meal together, and then, well, we went to bed. Yeah, that was kind of it. Oh, I did go to the dead hog party at one point, because one of the dead dog parties was actually in the main hotel, and it wasn't called Dead Dog, it was called Dead Hog. But anyway, after all the shenanigans, went to bed, and there was this really funny moment where during the night I must have been having a bad dream, and I woke up and I just saw this silhouette of a man stood at the end of my bed. And I just, I just made lots of, panicky, scared noises. It was just Ganon having some water. And, he just went back to bed after that, nearly passing out from laughing so much. But, look at it from my point of view. I wake up and there's some man there. And I could, in the moment waking up from this dream, I just couldn't recognize him. But anyway, it was Sunday now, and sadly, it was time to go home. Yeah, this is totally what England looks like when I went back home. Definitely wasn't a cold, dreary place. In fact, it was colder when I got back to England than it was when we were in Sweden, because of course it was. But anyway, we had to say goodbye. Ganon and Ziv were leaving at the same time, so after we got up, we had some coffee together, and we gave a small emotional farewell. Myself, Greme and Rio met up, and we said goodbye to a few people at a cafe, and then we went our separate ways, and then shortly after, we returned home. I got back home at about 9:15 p.m. on the 26th, and I was very tired. At the time of writing this, I don't seem to have Conqueror, and at the time of recording it, I don't seem to have Conqueror either. Conqueror, if you don't know, because some people who might be watching this have never been to a convention before, it's very typical when you go to a convention that you pick up some kind of bug because you're just in close proximity to so many people. But anyway, NFC was my most enjoyable, favourite con experience to date. I have not been to a convention like this before. Well, that's not entirely true. I've been to MFF, I've been to Eurofurence, I've been to Confuzzled. I've been to Confuzzled twice. But NFC just blows them out of the water. It's so good. Like, the staff that put this together, they should be very proud of themselves, because it was well worth the money and the time and everything. And all the problems that we had were negligible compared to the good experience that we had. Overall, a very positive experience. And I will be returning next year. It's in a beautiful place. There's a lot to do. The venue is great. There's lots of amazing food. And pretty much everyone speaks English as well, which is great. Well, for English speakers, that is. But yeah, this is the end of the video. And I hope these stories have shone a little light on this fantastic convention. And I hope I'll see more of you next year. And goodbye. Oh, also, yeah, I am working on more videos. I've got like some shorts and a much bigger video planning to come out. But I've just been very busy lately. That's why there hasn't been much content. But I have more planned. More stuff is coming. Just takes time. But anyway, I hope to see you all soon. And thank you very much for supporting me, everyone. And I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye now.